Part 4. The Tavern Keep. In the middle of a blasted land, nothing brown and pocked with strangely red and star-like craters, a structure slouched like an inebriated criminal. Even from the air, it looked abandoned, uneven, leaning and rotten. Close up wasn't any better, presenting a view of mismatched wood and metal that looked rescued from a faraway shipwreck. Holes gaped like through ruined teeth.
Please don't be the place,
thought Luke, but of course it was. The last lonely inn did not deserve its name. While it might be technically correct, the name evoked images of countryside and fantasy books like the Magical Land of Noom. It was not like that. Luke had been very careful to not be flashy on this boat. He felt stupid for having not really believed that his knack would put him in danger, and people he helped would talk. Well, he'd learned his lesson. When he slipped off the boat, the sailors startled because they'd forgotten he was there. Gods, it was hot. Luke tried to stay unseen, unnoticed, beneath noticed, but there was a problem with that. Everybody in here was 3 times his size and very loud. Less subtle than a foghorn sounded great and all, but he had no idea how to do that, and now felt like everyone was staring at him. Surely they weren't. Surely they were not.
Who the fuck let the mouse in here?
So much for subtle. Luke hunched and hurried to the bar, face burning, where the tavern keeper stood, an adult in authority which had to be safer. The big guy there looked like he could throw half the giants out of this place with one meaty hand. He stared down at Luke, leaned in, and said,
"Oh!"
Luke jumped. Low, cruel laughter rippled over him, like from an enormous rock dropped into water. So much for authority. Well, the mystery devil man had told him to grow up. So, Luke pushed back his hood, ignored his burning cheeks, and said,
"Do you have tea?"
The tavern keep looked deeply amused.
No. Water or beer. Beer's cheaper.
Luke was low on water. He assumed there would be sustenance at the games, but who knew?
Water.
He put his canteen on the counter.
Please.
And though it was hard, he met and held the man's many eyes. The guy studied him, and Luke could see the exact moment something like pity replaced whatever else he had been feeling.
Sure, kid.
He took the canteen and, never taking it out of sight, produced a pitcher and refilled it.
6 bronze standard or equivalent.
That was some expensive water. Luke tried not to seem like he had much more than that as he rummaged, finally producing 4 bronze standard and 1 square cadet, which was common along the Celophaeus coast. They disappeared under one of the tavern man's many hands at once.
Ship won't leave for another 20 minutes. Can still get on it. Go back. Tell whoever dared you to do it that you got here, and old Bart saw you.
Luke almost took the out. He could go back. He could make a life in Celophaeus. His knack was a good one. He could make a home, grow up happy and healthy, maybe make a friend. But he didn't want to do those things without Parker.
Thank you.
He tucked his canteen away.
But I have to do this.
Big prize, huh?
I need it, sir.
The guy let it go. Others in this place eyed Luke, speculative, smirking. Luke moved to a stool by the wall and huddled there, trying to be uninteresting. It turned out the key to being uninteresting was surrounding oneself with loudness. The would-be warriors boasted and toasted, yelled and called, took up more space than he'd known people could, and trapped attention with gluey focus. They were, they proclaimed, here to win. Often they declared they'd crush their enemies, or be richest in the world or stronger than anyone. It was sort of fascinating to listen to. No one wanted anything but for themselves. Nobody seemed to be wishing for healing or resurrection or protection for anyone. Was that expected? Was he going to seem weird? Did he have to make up something more banal sounding? Should he tell the truth? Maybe they weren't telling the truth. Adults lied a lot. They were awfully loud for lying, though, if so. More importantly, though, was getting an idea just what these people brought to the table. He saw weapons and spells. Fire. Something like electricity. A weird guy with snakes in his arms somehow, which reared up to bite whatever he was holding. Beings with fists like hammers. Some weird lady with arms like knives. A green man with a flower for a head who spit poison mist. So many and so much and so scary. He thought again about burning through the ropes to get free. Not at all the intention of that spell, but it had worked. And it had hurt. This was going to hurt. A lot. He trembled a little as they continued to flex, unsure how to prepare himself. He knew how to deflect bullies. He knew how to be uninteresting to hurt, at least according to his limited experience. So there had to be a way to prepare for the games, but he'd be damned if he could think of one.
You're young to be in this.
Not that young.
Bart completely dismissed what Luke had to say. Luke sat up straighter.
I'm not going back. Don't try to talk me out of this.
Oh, I won't.
The guy put that glass down and picked up another to dry.
Just hate seeing young lives cut so short, is all.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Luke muttered with an outside voice sarcasm he never would have dared before learning magic. The guy eyed him, 4 of 6 eyes fixed. Luke hunched in his seat.
Don't do that. Sit up. No shame. No fear. Don't be prey, okay?
Slowly, Luke sat up, then frowned.
Why are you helping me all of a sudden?
The keep was silent for a long moment. To the side, 2 guys with somehow very different bovine features seemed to be focused on attempting to snap one another's horns off with their teeth.
Well, I gotta sign this post because I have a knack, you see.
Luke perked up.
What knack?
I see what people really want.
Down with that glass, up with another. Luke stared.
And what do you think I want?
Good things.
Bart leaned on the countertop.
Things that ought not come through violence. Are you sure this is your only course, young man?
Luke stared.
Yes. Good things?
Family, love, security. Good things you can find without dying for them.
Bart put that glass away and turned to take fresh bread from the oven. The smell permeated the one-room tavern, and anyone not actively fighting turned his way. Terrible timing. Luke knew his eyes were shiny, but he couldn't help that.
I have to. He's dead.
The keep nodded.
Well, when you get there, you'll be wise to make connections.
He began handing out rolls to anyone who came to the counter and threw down a coin. Connections?
I'm listening.
Get training. You'll need it to learn your opponent's weaknesses.
The 2 bull-headed gentlemen decided bread was better than breaking and joined the queue for rolls. Luke swallowed around the lump in his throat.
I will, sir. Thank you, sir. It's more than I expected. How can I repay you?
Try not to die.
And outside the tavern came a new and terrible sound. A sound like demon claws on a chalkboard wrenched into the inn and through Luke's ears, making his eyes water. The heavy, rattling sound of a substantial wagon followed after, rumbling along, creaking and cracking.
He's here!
And there were cheers all around. Cheers! But Luke had been in the Dreamlands for months now and knew what he saw. This was the moment, for whatever reason, that the reality of this situation landed for a lot of these combatants. Fear showed in their feathers and faces. fear almost like shock. Luke was ready. A little dizzy, sure, a little unsteady on his feet, but it had been a long few days, most of which were in the air, so, hey, nobody cared if he was wobbly because almost all of them were. Almost. One of the bull-headed guys was less bullish than the other and hung back. The other bull man went strutting right out to greet whoever he was. The butcher, Luke guessed. The door creaked open, sending bars of daylight that leaked through across the floor, and in its bright opening stood a man. A man who sure looked human to Luke. He applied his knack, reaching into his talent, and yes, this man was human. Weird, though. Some strange power flowed through him, a deep and grimy yellow, something foreign to him that provided... Luke wasn't sure what. This human looked ordinary? A white man, leaning into middle-aged, slightly balding, bearded, just bland. Luke had seen thousands of men just like this. The man looked around the room, smiling, his light gray-blue eyes dancing from fighter to fighter.
I see. Well, this is a pretty muck of a mess, isn't it? All right, you people. Best get moving.
The guy was Irish? Another Earthling? The man wasn't even that tall, but the quiet, careful way everyone moved past him was sobering. Those who seemed unsure followed their wiser peers, side-eyeing this Irishman, keeping their hands to themselves. Luke wanted to slip out after them all and climb hidden onto whatever the wagon was. But no, that would be prey behavior. He held his head high and did not pull up his hood. This butcher watched him walk by, unreadable, thoughtful. He seemed so affable, a smile in his eyes and a good voice. He hummed lightly as Luke walked by, some tune Luke did not know. Through the door, out, so far so good. Well, that was one hell of a wagon. 4 things pulled it, gray and vaguely equine, but their long arched necks bore rows of strange ropey shapes that pulsed as if swallowing every second. Their eyes were solid red. Their teeth were long. Their claws dug into the ground, muddy up to their slim, horse-like ankles. And what they pulled was a cage. A wide, splintery wooden base topped with curved bars as if they'd stuck some giant's rib cage all around. It stood there, clawing at the sky, with one way in or out, a narrow opening where one bone had been removed from its bore. No one had climbed in. Everyone was staring at it. The butcher, if that's who this was, moved to stand beside him, still smiling.
You don't get in, you don't go to the games.
The braver bullman snorted heavily, somehow steaming the hot air around his bovine face.
Bullshit.
Luke decided that probably wasn't meant to be a pun. The butcher smiled.
Oh, is it now?
Maybe these fools could ride in your cage. I'm gonna ride up front with you, and if you try to fight me, you'll arrive at the games less useful to your master for the lack of limbs.
A few would-be fighters moved back. Luke was no fool and moved with them. What followed happened very fast. The butcher raised one hand and made a come-to-me motion, and the bull-headed guy did. There was a moment of gore, a moment of crushing, a moment of human limbs pulled free and bright red blood in the air. He blinked. It was all reversed. The bull guy was on the ground, moaning as he bled from ragged amputation into the hard-packed sand. So quick. Impossibly quick. Luke fought the urge to go and help this fool, knowing he'd reveal his knack, sickened with the feeling of that life bleeding out when he dared do nothing to stop it. The butcher rolled his shoulders and cracked his neck as if just getting warmed up.
Into the cage, or back into the tavern?
Fear like a hand of ice clutched Luke's throat. He hadn't even seen the guy move. If this was just the transporter, what chance did he have in the games? The butcher waited. No one moved.
Don't be prey.
Luke took a deep breath. He was terrified, but he'd spent much of his life terrified. Terrified of school, of bullies, of police. Terrified of what could happen to him someday, unloved as he knew he was.
Don't be prey.
He would not. Not anymore. Never again. To hell with this. In fact...
Fuck this.
He dared the word more boldly than he felt, his traitorous voice cracking, and climbed into the damned cage. The wood was awful. He got a splinter at once, and was more careful thereafter as he moved to the far side. The whole thing creaked and leaned as the others climbed aboard. It felt like being on a boat in choppy water, unreliable and tilting. Luke frowned and threaded one arm around the curving rib behind him, and his knack kicked in and verified, oh yes, this is bone, though he could not possibly imagine from what. It was almost as though this wagon was designed to toss people around. The butcher, if that was his name, threaded a thick, gruesome chain between the ribs, locking them all in. Humming, he hopped into the driver's seat.
Go!
And the horse things took off, leaving the foolish attacker on the sand, indecently torn open and very, very dead.